Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez delivered a blow to potential property investors in Spain just over a week ago when he announced his government's plans to scrap the golden visa for property investors. This comes as part of the government's plans to ensure housing affordability for the populations and to reduce speculation in the property market. Nevertheless, many experts think that this won't solve the housing crisis problem in Spain. So in this video, I'm going to explain what has been announced so far, what are some of the reasons in favor of scrapping this residency option, and what are some of the reasons against it. Let's get right into it. If you're new here, my name is Jonny. I'm originally from the UK, but I've been living and working in Madrid for the past 4.5 years. I am a bit of a property investor here in Spain. I bought my apartment back in 2021, not under the golden visa scheme, and I also own 2 storage units that I have rented out as well. So I do take an interest in the property market in the country. So let's start by having a look at what is the Spanish Golden Visa program, because it's not just for real estate investors. There are multiple ways that someone can invest in Spain and get a residency permit through investment. Essentially, the Spanish Golden Visa allows third country nationals, that's to say non-EU citizens, to invest in Spain and in doing so obtain a residency permit. Now there's 3 main routes that one can follow in terms of investments when looking to secure a residency permit in Spain. The first is in financial assets. So there are 4 different ways you can secure a residency permit under this part of the Golden Visa. So one is by purchasing $2 million of Spanish public debt, government bonds essentially. Another is by purchasing €1 million of shares or participations in a Spanish company that is active in Spain and it has a real business activity. So it can't be like a holding company or a dormant enterprise, for example. There's an option to invest €1 million in investment funds or venture capital funds that are based in Spain. And the final option is to deposit €1 million in a Spanish bank account in a Spanish entity. Next, we have business projects of general interest in Spain. So there's no quantity here that's mentioned, but in order to be granted a golden visa, you'll essentially need a favorable report to present as part of the application here and show that, it's a legitimate business project with interests that benefit the Spanish economy kind of thing. Under this way, you can also be granted a golden visa. And the last one, the most popular one, as we'll see from statistics, and the one we're of course focusing on in this video, is via property investment. So someone looking to secure a golden visa via the property investment route in Spain can do so by investing €500,000 into unencumbered real estate. And it's worth noting as well that this can be one property over €500,000, or it can be multiple properties. There's no limit set that total up to €500,000. So you could either buy a €500,000 home, or you could buy 5 €100,000 apartments, for example, and both would give you eligibility to apply for a golden visa. Now, what did the government say in their announcement, and what does their announcement mean essentially? Now, in Pedro Sánchez's initial announcement, what he basically said was that his government was going to study a report based on the law that was introduced by the People's Party, Partido Popular, back in 2013, under the government of Mariano Rajoy, when that government was trying to attract foreign investment to the country to help Spain get out of the crisis. And so they're specifically going to study the part of the law that grants residency via property investment. And this is more or less a direct quote, is that they're going to initiate proceedings to eliminate the golden visa, which gives residency to property investors investing €500,000 in property in Spain. The reason he gave for that essentially is that they're going to take the necessary measures to make sure that having a house, being able to purchase a property in Spain is a right and it's not a mere speculative investment, in his words. He said it's not the kind of model that he wants for the country. It's not what he wants Spain to be as a country, where property is just a speculative investment. And because he also mentioned that they're going to modify the law, it suggests that they are just looking at removing the golden visa via property investment route, and they're not looking at some of the other options as well. Though at this stage, we don't know. This is just an announcement. It's still in the study phases. Any changes, they'll have to go through the Spanish Parliament, be ratified and passed into the law. Then a few days later, in the Council of Ministers, the Minister of Housing, Isabel Rodriguez, said words that again support that this is mainly focused on property investing and it's perhaps not going to look at removing the other routes of investment to get residency as well. She said that the government still wants to attract investment in Spain and believes Spain is an attractive country to invest in, and they want foreign investors to come and invest in the country as long as that keeps access to housing affordable for the local population. So looking at this, my opinion, though of course I can't be certain, is that it's more a modification of the different routes that give you golden visa access in Spain, rather than getting rid of the golden visa entirely. We'll have to wait and see what happens as this goes through the Spanish Parliament, but this is what it looks like at present. So with that said, let's analyze now the reasons for the government doing this and the reasons against the government doing this. So we'll start with some of the reasons for. So if you followed my channel or you followed a lot of the Spanish news, then you'll know that the Spanish property market is going through a very challenging time right now, particularly over the past few years, with prices on the rise quite significantly. In one video in particular, I talked about the role of foreign investors and the important role they play in the movements and the evolution of the Spanish property market. I said in that video that in the first quarter of 2023, I think it was, that 20% of property purchases in that quarter were by foreign nationals. And generally speaking, foreign nationals purchasing property in Spain have higher purchasing power and more disposable income and more financial resources generally than the local population in Spain, making it much easier for them to purchase Spanish property. And whilst there may be lower demand from the local population, the foreign population keeps that market going in a sense. And by removing the golden visa option for third country nationals, this may put the brakes on the property market a little bit for some of those third country nationals who would have purchased more expensive properties. Statistically, the most common nationalities that are granted golden visas in Spain are China, Russia, Iran, the United States, and the United Kingdom. According to the government, 94% of golden visa applications are via the property route. That's to say 94 out of 100 applicants for the golden visa are doing so because they've purchased one or more properties in excess of €500,000. The majority of property purchases that are then used for the golden visa application are in Malaga, Madrid, Barcelona, the Balearic Islands, Alicante, and Valencia, which if you've watched some of my other videos, you'll know that these are some of the most expensive regions of the country. And they're therefore some of the regions where the population is struggling the most in terms of housing affordability. The EU has argued that such programs can raise concerns in the area of security in terms of who gets to reside in the European Union. It can also raise concerns around money laundering and terrorist financing. And as part of this crackdown on golden visa programs, there are already 3 countries that have cancelled their golden visa programs over the past 3 years, those being Ireland, Portugal, and the UK, the latter of course not being in the EU. And particularly following the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, these golden visa programs have come under huge scrutiny, with the EU concerned that sanctioned individuals may have property or may be residing in an EU country under a golden visa or citizenship by investment program. And it's around that time, 2022 and 2023, that there was a large uptake in Spanish golden visa applications as well. Over the years, it's typically been in the hundreds, and then in 2022 and 2023, there were around 2,000 and 3,000 applications each year, respectively. So those are some of the reasons that the government may have decided to get rid of its golden visa program. However, it's not that simple, and there are quite a number of reasons why some might consider this a bad decision as well. So let's go and look into those reasons. First of all, the average citizen in probably most countries in the world doesn't have €500,000 or €1 million or €2 million just sitting around in the bank and they're looking for something to do with it. And there's not a massive number of people who are looking to invest that money in Spain. The government statistics show that 14,576 golden visas were granted between the start of the program up until now via the property route. So that's about 16,000 in total, with the rest being down the other routes. So imagine that's maybe 15,500 properties that have been purchased under a golden visa. I bumped it up a little bit in case someone is buying more properties, which in the context of the number of properties available in Spain is absolutely negligible. The INE, which is Spain's National Institute for Statistics, reported that in 2021 there were 18.5 million properties, residential properties, available in the country in 2021. And keep in mind as well, it could be that some of those property purchases by golden investor and visas are commercial properties as well, because it doesn't specify if it has to be a residential property or a commercial property. Though my guess is that the majority of people going down the property golden visa route in Spain, it's going to be their primary residence because they're moving full-time to Spain, or it's going to be a holiday home in Spain. It's probably not as a business investment. Of course, I can't be sure though. I did a bit of quick maths for this one. So 14.5 golden visas were granted for property investing in Spain. Then that means about 930, just below 1,000, have been granted for other purposes, such as investing in a company or funds or buying government debt or putting money in a bank account. So you could say really that the number of properties acquired under the golden visa in Spain is a drop in the ocean compared to the whole number of properties available in Spain. And I had a look at Portugal's golden visa stats as well, just out of interest. In the case of Portugal, there's about 5 million homes available, and 12,000 golden visas were conceded in Portugal under their program, which is almost the same number of Spain, for about a third of the number of available houses in the country. And another thing that eliminating this golden visa option doesn't address is that there's still going to be foreign nationals that come to Spain from the EU, from countries like France and Germany that still have higher purchasing power, and even from other third countries as well, perhaps under something like the non-lucrative visa. And these people still might be buying property. And in the case of the non-lucrative visa, might even be the case that more people choose to pursue this option. And now that the financial requirements are not so high, they maybe go for some of those lower priced properties, which could put pressure on the property market in that sense. At the end of the day though, wealthy individuals who have a lot of money have options really, It's just that Spain will no longer be one of their options. So whereas they might have invested in property, or they may have invested in Spanish companies or whatever, bringing their investment into Spain, unless they have a real desire to move to Spain, they're going to look at other countries in Europe, such as Italy, Greece, Malta, which still have golden visa programs in that sense. And so the government does seem to be focused on property investing only, just looking at the way they announced it. Then to get rid of the golden visa entirely would again divert further foreign direct investment away from Spain to other European countries or other countries in the world. And so coming back to my opinion, I dug into it a little bit, tried to do some research to give some grounding to it and not just be something I'm spurting out there. So what I did was basically went to Idealista. The site basically has a lot of interesting information about property prices, etc. So what I did was I took the average property size by autonomous community, multiplied by the price per meter squared per autonomous community. And I'll put the table on the screen so you can see the results. But if you look at kind of the autonomous community level, the only autonomous community where you get relatively close to the 500,000 euro threshold is the Balearic Islands. And so the big question for you watching now is probably, what now? How can I move to Spain? So again, at present, this is just an announcement. Nothing has been passed through and made law right yet. So this golden visa residency option by property at present is still valid. And there'll probably be some time before it actually takes effect and comes into law. From now, with respect to the other eligible investments for golden visa, then it looks like they still might be valid until the government says otherwise. But again, if this was something that I was seriously considering, I wouldn't necessarily leave it to chance, and I would again get the ball rolling so you can secure your residency permit and move to Spain. If that's not going to be possible for you and you're going to run out of time, you don't think you'll be ready in time before this golden visa program comes to an end, then don't forget there are other residency options in Spain as well. You have options like the non-lucrative visa, where if you have passive income or you have savings, then you can come and move to Spain for 1 year, and that's a renewable visa as well. If you're doing remote work, you work for a company outside of Spain, or you have your own business as a digital nomad, then the digital nomad visa again can be an option as well. I put together an interactive PDF which you can download from the store on my website for free if you're signed up to the Millennials of Money newsletter. All you have to do is sign up to the newsletter on the website, and then you'll receive a code where you can download that file for free. You can work through that interactive PDF and it will give you all of the options that are available based on your situation to find the best residency option for you in Spain. And on the subject of this PDF, sincere apologies for anyone who had issues downloading it in the first week. I had an issue with the checkout in my store where it essentially circled back to the homepage. That's now resolved and you'll be able to download it. So again, my sincere apologies if you had issues there. And if you find a visa option that works for you and you're looking for support with your application, then be sure to check out the link that I have to my friends at bureaucracy.es. They are specialist immigration lawyers and they'll be able to help you with your application. You'll get a 10% discount as a Millennials of Money follower as well. If unfortunately it does mean that Spain is no longer possible for you, then sincerely, I really feel for you. It's really disheartening when things like this happen, when you have your heart set on moving to a particular country and the means to do it are just not there. But I definitely say don't be disheartened. Open up your mind perhaps to other countries like Italy, like Greece, like Malta, who have programs in place and offer not the same, of course, but a similar quality of life to Spain. And of course, they're Schengen countries as well. So you can, of course, travel to Spain within the 180-day rule and still enjoy a bit of Spain whilst living not too far away and with a similar quality of life. I will perhaps do a video as well where I look into these other golden visa programs. so that you can get an idea of what's out there in Europe. So there you go, guys. I hope you found this video helpful and useful for you. Leave a comment and let me know, what do you think about the government's recent announcement on the Golden Visa program. Till next time, I'll see you on the next one, and let's get this money.